Now we will talk about how to create lightning tab, or if we need to communicate between the VF page, visualforce pages, and lightning component, how we can communicate, or in other words, how we can use our lightning aura component inside VF page. So that's the important thing. Till the time we have VF pages, we may need to interact via VF page to lightning aura component, maybe in some certain scenarios. So you should know if there is some certain requirements, how we can use those. Or all along with this, we'll also talk about how we can create quick action, how we can create quick detail buttons. We have buttons, action buttons in or on all the objects. We'll see them as well. So for that, I need to create one lightning component, lightning aura component, and I'll add that component into the VF page, and I'll utilize that. So go to the developer console. Contact form comp, that's my component. So I'm checking certain checkboxes. Let's see if I need to create the quick action. We need to implement the interface, or we can check it here. We can declare the attribute similarly here. Well equals to this and action. Let me put one alert calling from VF page. So we have created the components. When we want to include our aura component into the VF page, there are certain steps. We also need to create the application. Then we need to put our component to the application. For that, we use aura dependency, and inside the resource we put the component name. Our application should be globally accessible because lightning is in a different domain and VF page is in a different domain. We also extend LTNG out app because we want to enable this application and component to communicate with the VF page. Let's create the app. So I will check this checkbox, LTNG out dependencies. It will automatically extend those dependencies. Here it's extending. Accessibility should be global. And here we will put aura dependency resource equals to the component name, which component you want to include in this. C colon contact form. It's saying aura dependency is not found. No, okay. It's saying no component aura. There is some spelling mistake in dependency. Let me check it. So I have added my component here. Now I need to create a VF page where I can utilize this. Contact form VF. There are certain things when we include any component, we need to include lightning. Syntax is apex, include lightning. We have to give one unique identifier for that page. We will create one div for that. Unique identifier means unique ID. Lightning, you can put any name. Then inside the script, inside the script we will write the code or logic to call the first application, then create the component. So for that we have syntax $a dot use. Inside that we need to pass the application name. Then there will be certain syntax: first application name, then function, then the component name. Inside component name there will be three things. One is the, if you want to pass any parameter, we can pass array or in the form of key and value all the parameters. We can pass the component name. We need to pass the ID, which is the unique identifier which we have declared here. Here we need to pass the application name C colon comma, and now we need to create the component dynamically. $a dot create component is a syntax of part to create the component dynamically from the different domain. So here which component we want to create, here we need to put the component name. It will accept three parameters. One is the component name C colon contact form comp. Another is the parameter. Whatever, if you want to pass any parameter you can pass here. Another is the ID, that div ID which we have declared the unique identifier, and here function. So this is the syntax to call the component.
This conference will now be recorded.
if you need to pass any parameter, so you can pass the parameter here. Let's say if we have declared any attribute here, last name, comma, Kumar. If you need to pass the multiple parameter, put the comma, take the another attribute if you are declared an aura, and pass the parameter. So we can pass the multiple parameters here. This is how we can put our component, lightning aura component, into the uh, page, VF page, and these are the steps to use. So we have to create a component, lightning aura component. We need to create attributes. If you want to use, we can create default handler. We can create button, anything in the component, which are everything will be available on the UI when we will call them from the VF page. We need to create the application where we will be going to put our component into the application. We need to include aura component in app, and then when we have to create the VF page as well, inside the VF page we need to, first line will be apex include lightning, because we want to interact, we want to set up an interaction between two different domains, VF page and the lightning aura. So include lightning will enable the lightning aura component to be used, to be called here in VF page. There should be some unique ID for that page which we will pass when we create the parameter, we create the component dynamically. Dollar lightning.use will be being used here to create the app. Lightning.create component is being used to create the component, where we need to pass the parameters. First is component, another is if you want to pass any or attribute inside that you can pass, then div ID, and then function. This is how we can call. Let's say if I want to create a button on detail page of account, so I can use this page, standard controller account. Let's go to the detail page of account here. So you can say how to create the buttons or how to create the quick actions. I'll tell you both. That's the opportunity and that's the account. Object. So here you can see list button links and actions. So if you need to create button links and actions, and how it will be displayed, something like that. Here we have the buttons, so it will come like that. Go to the details. On classic we will see certain more buttons, so I'll tell you both. So if you want to create new button or link, click on new button or link. Let it load, it's taking a bit time to load. So here you can put the name, let's say create contact VF, because here we will use the button detail. But if you want to make the detail button, detail page button, we need to, okay, then new window, we need to choose our VF page. Click on VF page. Contact form which I have created, it is coming with the namespace. Save it. So we have created the button, detail button or detail page button. I need to check whether that is available or not. If not, I need to edit the layout to add the button on the UI. So right now that button is not enabled. So edit the layout. We have the option here. We have created button here. So we can click on the buttons and search for your button. Create VF page, drag and drop. We have got the button. If we will click on this, it will be going to open our page. Open the same page where we are making the call to the Aura component. So this is how we can use and navigate to the Aura with the help of VF pages from the even from classic version. Now let's say, so this is how I had put the alert in my JS. We have got the alert. We can check the value, whatever attribute we have passed. Now let's say if I want to create a quick action. Right now I have created the button, detail button. If I want to create a quick action, which will be available in Lightning View, I can use the same component there. Go to the button section, new action. We have to use a lightning component will be available. All the components will be available which are enabled for quick action. So if you remember, when I have created the component, I have checked that checkbox quick action by which I have implemented the interface. Let me show you that. Go to your component, force colon lightning quick action. Sometimes even in people ask in the interviews what are interface which implement. There are around 5 to 6 interfaces. When you want to enable your component for tab, for page, for communities, for quick action, we can implement these interfaces. Label, same create contact, but I will keep it Aura. You can define the width. Now this time it will come as a modal window, as a pop-up. You can define the width of your component, let's say 450 or 500. Save it. Again, we need to do the same exercise. We need to edit the layout, and we need to add this button on the layout. Edit the layout. Here we have quick actions. Create contact aura. We have got it here. Just drag and drop it. So Salesforce mobile lightning experience or actions, it will come there. Let's save it. It will come in lightning experience as a quick action or as action button. So for that, what we need to do, we need to switch back to the lightning to access the button. Okay. So here we should be able to access the button. Create contact aura. If I will click on that, there should be one modal, one kind of pop-up open. It's opening that pop-up, getting the alert because we had put it in JS. There won't be anything on UI. Reason is we haven't added any input. So let's add some input and see how it will look like. lightning input label, enter first name, text, last name, and text. Let's create the button as well. Lightning button label, save variant, and on click. C dot save contact. So I don't need anything at the time of load. I'll comment this. Let's go to the JS. So when I press the button, I should be able to see that these details here. Let me go get those details where fname equals to component dot find fname dot get v dot value. Similarly for last name, let's go back to the UI from where we have launched it. Now we will launch it again. Go to the button, create contact aura. We have got it. Let's pass some information. I should be able to see the details on alert, first name and last name. Okay. Now let's say requirement is whenever we are going to create or save the contact record from here, we want to insert the contact and we want to attach that contact with respect to the same account. Means if I'm going to visit to the Burlington Textile Corp of America account and I click on the create contact, I want that that particular contact should be attached with that particular account, under that account, not with another account. I need to make this process dynamic. So how we can do that? Just think on.
This conference will now be recorded.
So to relate the contact with respect to the account, we will going to get fetch this ID of that particular account in our component and we will send. Now question is how we can get the ID. If you notice, let me go back on the component again. We have implemented one more interface, force colon has record ID, and with the help of this we will be able to get the ID and in our component or controller. So let me show you how. Component.get v dot record ID. Go back to the account, same account, refresh it, because if you want to refresh, changes won't be there. So refresh it, it's mandatory. click on the button, type the name, okay. When I will click on this button, I should get first name, last name, and the record ID or account ID. So if you can match with this URL, that's the same ID which we are getting. So what we will do now, along with these entered inputs, we will be going to send this ID as well to the server, Apex class, Apex method, where we will map this ID like contact.account ID equals to this ID which we are getting, record ID, and it will automatically relate this contact with the current account, and it will be dynamic process. You don't need to bother about that. So that is in the lightning experience when we are going to create. Let me switch back to this layout. I'll add my another button, VF button as well. Switch to lightning again because already we have this button here, create contact VF. Now this button should be accessible in lightning experience, that we have page button which we have created. Here we go. We have got both the buttons, like create contact lightning or create contact VF. If I click on that, but this time it won't come in the pop-up. Yeah, it won't come in the pop-up. It will come on the as a tab when we will be going to open this like this. So the friends, when we create the detail button, that will open, that is being opened here as a tab. But when we were using or opening the quick action, that was coming as a modal window pop-up. Output will be same if I type something here. Because this is coming or going through the VF page, so we are not getting the record ID. So in that case, if we need to send the ID, we need to use our you use custom class or Apex class here in VF page, and in the constructor we can use Apex pages. There's a function to get the parameter or get the ID of the URL, and then we need to send that ID as a parameter from VF page to the Aura component, and then you can use that.
This conference will now be recorded.
So this is how we can use our component in VF page. Even though you need to create any lightning any button as a detail button on any account, you can use that, or you can create a quick action, which will be quick action will only be available in lightning experience, but your button detail button will be available in both classic as well and lightning experience as well, where you can launch it, you can call your Aura component in VFS. Going further, when we'll talk about LWC, I'll show you how we can use our LWC component in VFS, how we can make a call. So this is all about it, how we can utilize lightning functionality, lightning Aura component inside page. If you have any question, you can email me on training.grovia@gmail.com.